Bismillah Rahman Rahim. This is lecture number 8, and we shall continue our next lecture, keeping in view of the main topic, that is about concept of supervision. Today our topics will be nature and characteristics of supervision, difference between administration and supervision, purpose and need of supervision, qualities of effective supervisor, different techniques of supervision, and role of supervisor. Now, first of all, what is nature and characteristics of supervision? The concept of inspection has to be transformed to one of the healthy supervision and guidance. Inspection days are looked upon sometimes with a degree of anxiety, tension, fear, and apprehension. The academic side is not stressed. So, in our country, like in Pakistan, it is done hastily and is criticized as perfunctory and unsympathetic. Inspection is frequently said to produce only frustration and dissatisfaction in teachers. Now, this unproductive and unpleasant concept is being criticized and are tried to replace with the modern concept of supervision, which is the procedure of coordinating, stimulating, and directing the growth of teachers for making the teaching learning process more effective. All human beings in the educative process, students, teachers, administrators, and supervisors, are individuals of worth, endowed with unique talent and capacities. The primary aim of supervision should be rent value of each person, to the end that the potential of all persons will be realized. The philosophy of democracy, the psychology of group dynamics, interpersonal relationships, professional leadership, etc., have left indelible imprint on the theory and practice of modern supervision in the democratic social order. Education is a dynamic force, and supervision becomes dynamic in character. Now, here there are some points, like the first point is supervision should be democratic and cooperative in spirit and organization. The main purpose of the supervision should merely to be provide the effective leadership and develop cooperative working relationships, because education is also considered a cooperative and creative enterprise in which all teachers, pupils, parents, and administrators participate, and supervisors are their academic leaders who stimulate, guide, and advise them in improvement of teaching learning process. So, modern supervision must furthermore objective towards attitudes, more cooperative efforts, more constructive suggestions, greater of Venus, and teaching of giant goals. Secondly, supervision should be established on the maintenance of satisfactory interpersonal relationships. A group's productiveness is affected by the quality of its human relation, and supervisors must work constantly for the improvement of group cohesiveness. So, supervision should maintain a high level of personal interactions, otherwise, it would be ineffective and unproductive. Thirdly, the supervisor is concerned with the communication within the group, as leadership depends on better social interaction, communication. So, which should be a two-way process from the supervisor, because exchange of information always helps in planning and implementation of policies, and should be comprehensive in scope, and it should embrace the I program, the program, and proper articulation is necessary. The supervisory agency. Today, supervision should be improving all factors involved in teaching learning process. Fourth point, that is supervision should be creative. Teaching as an art, as already we have discussed, supervision is a creative work. So the purpose of supervision should be to draw out the best in teachers, to ignite their latent talents, to stimulate the initiatives, to encourage their originality and self-expression. Supervision should emphasize their success, and strength makes their weaknesses and failure as a side issue. The supervisors should always have new ideas, resourcefulness, and original thinking. Supervision should be scientific. The supervisor should make use of scientific methods to effect improvement in instructions. Through surveys, experiments, actions, researches, he should make his performance more scientific and effective. He will encourage constructive and critical thinking among teachers and discourage flattering and biased opinions. Supervision should be experimental and autocritical in nature. In contrast to autocratic and authoritarian type, the emerging concept of supervision stimulates experimentalism and self-criticism. So, any aspects of the learning situations found to be ineffective or detrimental to the achievement of better situation should be dropped or modified by supervisors through leading and guiding the teachers to do their job in effective ways. What is the difference between administration and supervision? Adams and Dickey have rightly said that to separate supervision and administration on the basis of function alone is a virtual impossibility. So some overlapping of supervisory and administrative functions is inevitable. Supervisory service is particularly concerned with the instruction and its improvement. Supervision is directly concerned with the teaching and training and with the factors included in and related to these process: the teachers, the pupils, the curriculum, the instructional materials, etc. On the other hand, administration is aimed at the same goals as supervisions, but not directly. Budget making, construction of building, personal administration, and so on are all intended to improve the educational programs. Though all these activities results in more effective learning of the pupil, it cannot be achieved immediately. In other words, administrative functions are concerned with material facilities, whereas supervisory services are concerned with the improving of the learning or academic situations. So administration must see that continuous improvement of the instructional program by supervisory service is accomplished. Administration therefore creates an organization for supervision, which imply assign, direct, and supervises the supervisors. Otto, as Apathy said, all of this means that supervision is an arm of administration, and that the total organization for the solved wisely without the care of instructions, which is the primary concern, is supervision. Administration is responsible for providing school buildings, books, instructional supplies, selection and appointment of teachers, etc. But what kind of teachers, instructional program? What type and size of classrooms? With what kind of physical facilities? For what kind of instructional program? So there must be a cordial and intimate working relationships between administration and supervision. Though administration and supervisions are related in so many important ways, it is not difficult to differentiate the process of supervisions from the process of administration. The latter, in its role of policy formation, decision making, direction, and control, may not always have the teaching learning elements. Distinguishing between administration and supervisions makes it crystal clear that supervision is mainly an academic or teaching function. Modern supervision has its essential functions of promoting and guiding teaching learning situations. The dynamics of supervision should be consistent with good teaching process, that is growth and development of the learner. On the whole, supervisory services essentially and basically are aimed at promoting and facilitating improvement of instructions, which is the goal of school program. Of supervision. Different educationists have put forward different views regarding the purpose of supervisions. So these may be broadly summarized as following points, like to set up suitable goals for the educational institutions. This is one of the purpose of supervision. To provide professional leadership to the institutions in order to improve their working. To enlarge the teacher's concept of meaning of education. To induce the newly appointed teachers into the schools and into the profession. To develop an understanding of the place of education in our civilization and of the special functions of education. The next purpose is to bring about a realization of local needs and conditions, to help teachers to analyze critically their own activities, to ascertain the work in which each teacher is most successful and in which he is capable for growth, to unify teachers into a team all working intelligently and willing to appreciate cooperation achieve the same general goals, to ascertain and bring about needed changes in the organization and administration that will facilitate an effective teaching, to assist teachers in diagnosing pupils' needs and to help in planning for growth and power and satisfy them, to popularize the school program, especially its success, so that the public will be more understanding and sympathetically helpful. The other purpose, that is to direct teachers toward unfamiliar sources of immediate aid and materials for continuing growth. Moreover, to share the public problems of the school so as to get suggestions for their rectification. To protect teachers from unnecessary and unreasonable demands by the public on their time and energies, and to protect them from uncalled for criticisms. To develop a professional awareness and concerns for the profession. What are the qualities of an effective supervisor? Various attempts have been made by researchers to prepare the list of professional qualities of our supervisors and administrators. It is expected by the supervisors to possess all conceivable attributes. It is hard to find or produce a supervisor possessing all the qualities and virtues and yet be a human being. Before discussing some of the personal qualities that supervisors for primary education must have, it should be stressed that these qualities are not the product of seniority or teaching experience in the school, but these have to be consciously cultivated. Furthermore, these qualities are not fixed but can be reinforced or modified by study and practice. According to Soringen, essential personal qualities of supervisors which can be nurtured intentionally or as below. The first one is approachability. Approachability means that as a supervisor who is accessible to teachers is a friendly person, but he must be able to move naturally and freely from informal talk to a deeper level of conversations. He should encourage and welcome new ideas and try them in actual situations. He must also be good listeners and find time to discuss with teachers what they want to discuss individually or in groups. Perceptiveness. A high level of awareness enables supervisors to notice significant elements in a situation, in material and in the behavior of others, and even in his own action. Without awareness of what is and what ought to be, the supervisors will be unable to help teachers work productively. Perceptiveness also implies sensitivity to other people, their needs and purposes, giving them respect and finding something worth in their work. It also enables the supervisors to anticipate responses and to have foresight of how events and actions may look to others. Finally, it helps the supervisors to identify maladjusted teachers and their needs for assistance. Aspiration and faith. This is other quality of effective supervisors, that aspiration, vision and faith should characterize instructional leaders. The supervisor should be articulate about his aspirations and faith. Unless the supervisor keeps himself abreast of the new knowledge and development and believes in what he professes, he can neither inspire others nor face the unexpected challenges. Then, becomingness. The concept of continued growth is germane to supervision. Teachers, supervisors, headmasters, and educational administrators are all in the process of growing, or what Gordon Allport calls becoming, constantly striving to become better. The supervisor must be growing individuals, always making keen and enthusiastic efforts to keep himself abreast of new knowledge, new techniques, and new trends in education. Then and only then it may be hoped to play his role effectively and to serve as a living example of becoming process for the teachers with whom he works. Becomingness also implies adaptability and flexibility in problem solving situations, trusting new experiences, undertaking new experiments, and relishing opportunities for possible growth for self and others. The other quality is imagination and resourcefulness. This is very important. It is important that supervisors be imaginative and resourceful. Efforts to improve instructions and human relations often fail for want of imagination and resourcefulness. Fresh preparations, seeing new uses for familiar materials and procedures, noticing previously unnoticed element in a situation, willingness to take a calculated risk are all characteristics of good leadership. Persistence, resilience, and willingness to try with good cheer another way when a first way is blocked should be part of the standard equipment for supervision. The possession of these qualities, though essential, is not itself enough. The supervisors must, in addition, acquire skills and knowledge appropriate to his task. Now, there are some different techniques of supervisions. So, what are those techniques? Like Chandrasekaran augmented about these techniques: preventive, corrective, constructive, and creative. preventive. A supervisor should be preventive supervisor like the headmaster or an external supervisor like the inspector, who can be sure that certain difficulties will confront every new teacher in school. He or she can anticipate the teacher's difficulties as far as possible and prevent them. This type helps the teachers to correct his fault in himself and encourages his professional ambition. The other technique, that is corrective. The supervisor who goes into the classrooms with the intention of finding what wrong will invariable is be successful in doing that. It makes him dissatisfied and the teacher unhappy. It must not be thought corrective supervision is unimportant. It is the kind most teachers want. The supervisors should be on the lookout primarily for faults, but lie should make continuous efforts to see each fault in its true place in the whole process of education. Some faults can be overlooked as trivial and identical, while some require immediate attentions, otherwise they may permanently invalidate teachers' effectiveness. Then the other technique is constructive. Supervision should be constructive and at times concerned with the correction of poor practice, minor or major, but it should not stop there. The healthiest procedure is to induce growth rather than to remove defects. Constructive supervision seeks a steady growth in our power to perform better the activities already well performed. Teachers become happier and stronger by healthy development than they are while suffering from pedagogic amputations. The wise supervisors will always attempt to share teachers with his vision of what good teaching really should be, and in this way he will stimulate, encourage and direct them to grow in competence to make it real. Another technique is creative. Creative supervision implies that supervision should encourage variety, originality and independent experimentations. Creative supervision differs from constructive super on the attempt to free teachers for the largest possible contribution that they can make by their ingenuity, which is a device for more effectively achieving the aim of education. The chief purpose of all supervision is that of liberating the teachers, freeing him from set procedures and definite prescriptions, and developing him as far as possible into the master teachers for the school system. So the supervisors does not need to limit freedom while furnishing directions, advice and suggestions for a program to prove by experimentations and measurement whatever is good. Now there is a role of supervisors. What is the role? The supervisor's function is to release and cooperate, rather to control the creative abilities of teachers. Therefore, role of supervisors may be divided into two main categories. The first one is administrative roles and the second one is academic roles. In administrative roles, the role of supervisor is selection and appointment of class 4 or supporting staff, sanction and payment of school grants, providing facilities to schools, supervising the developmental task of schools, recognition and gradation of school, holding the scholarship examination and awarding scholarships, approval of resolution of management committee, moreover checking the safety and security of the school plot, maintaining proper service conditions for teachers. Remember that here the word has been used plant. Plant means building, table, chairs, etc. Checking proper distribution of workload reporting to higher authorities about the teacher promotion on the basis of their performance. Welfare of the teachers, this is also very important because this just acts like an energy for the teachers. Now the second role is the role of supervisor as an academic. Academic role is supervision of teaching learning activities, exchanging and maintaining the educational standards, evaluating and improving teaching learning process, orientation of teachers through in-service teaching courses. For this lecture, hopefully you have subscribed my channel, and still if you didn't subscribe it, please subscribe it, and be in touch with me for more updates. Thank you. Take care. Allah Hafiz.